Have you ever heard of the Bell Witch? This haunting tale has been told and retold throughout history with movies and books written about it. Yet some say the truth behind the story is more terrifying than fiction. The legend of the Bell Witch takes place in a small rural town in northern Middle Tennessee called Adams. Back in late 1804, John and Lucy Bell and his family moved from North Carolina to Red River, Tennessee, present-day Adams, with their 6 children: Jesse, John Jr., Drury, Benjamin, Esther, Zadok, Elizabeth, Betsy, Richard, and Joel. Now, most families move for a fresh start somewhere new, but this family was running for their lives. You see, John Bell had been a hatter by trade before becoming a farmer. But while working in his shop, he came across some very valuable information that turned him into a target. After discovering some shady dealings amongst his boss's dealings, John took it upon himself to expose them, which ended up costing him his job, and more importantly, his life. While working at this hat factory, John had made quite the impression on some of his bosses, and when they found out he was going public with what he knew, they sought to punish him. And before he could expose them, they beat John within an inch of his life. Though he survived the attack, his bosses decided to frame him for a crime he didn't commit. So they kidnapped John's wife and children, holding them hostage while threatening to kill him if he didn't back down. In a panic, John escaped the situation and fled with his family to Tennessee. But unknown to him, something evil followed. As years passed, the Bells were able to put their traumatic experience behind them and settle into a simple life on the farm. John and Lucy had 2 more children, bringing the total to 8. And although they lived a happy life, strange things began to happen around the farmhouse. At first, it was just minor disturbances like objects mysteriously moving around and whispers in the dead of night. But as time went on, these ghostly occurrences started to intensify. It all began one evening when Betsy was chopping wood near the fireplace inside the house, and according to her, she was suddenly thrown several feet through the air and landed on the hearth. Of course, no one believed her story because it sounded far-fetched. But soon, other terrifying events started taking place, leading everyone to believe something supernatural was happening. One night, John Bell awoke in his bed only to be struck in the face by a brick that was thrown through his window. And just days later, his daughter Elizabeth woke up with a rope around her neck, having been choked in her sleep. As you can imagine, the family was terrified, so they called on Reverend John Cook to perform an exorcism and rid their home of whatever evil was haunting them. The ceremony was successful, and peace returned to the Bell household, until one night while everyone was asleep, the roof caved in. Once again, the family was unharmed, but they began to suspect something sinister was lurking in their home. So the family reached out to another minister named Reverend John Sharp, who discovered something peculiar. When he stepped foot into the house, Reverend Sharp felt an evil presence watching over him. And when he attempted to perform an exorcism, he was met with an evil voice that cursed him and warned him to leave or else. And with that, he and the Bells agreed it would be best if they left the house vacant until they figured out what to do next. Meanwhile, their mysterious tormentor continued to make regular appearances, even interacting with the family on occasion. And although the hauntings seemed to be targeted towards Mr. Bell, there were times when the ghost would interact with others. One time a man named James Craig was visiting the Bell household, and as he walked past the front door, it slammed shut. He tried to walk out again, but the door wouldn't budge, so he pounded on it to get someone's attention. And when the door finally opened, he found John Bell standing there with a wild look on his face. And although he looked confused, James could tell something was wrong. So he asked John what happened, and he replied, "I am not able to tell you. I am afraid of what might happen." But as James made his way outside, he saw a rocking chair moving by itself on the porch. Startled, he ran back inside to warn the family of whatever evil lurked in the house, but no one listened. They thought he was just trying to scare them off, so he packed his things and never returned. And as the months went on, the ghostly activity intensified. The family would hear disembodied footsteps roaming through the halls at night, along with voices whispering secrets and lullabies. It got so bad that the family couldn't even sleep with all the commotion going on. But the worst was yet to come. One day, John Bell was sitting on the porch when he was approached by a mysterious woman who introduced herself as Kate Batts. She explained that she was researching local folklore and wanted to speak with John about the strange happenings at his home. Although he was hesitant, John obliged and shared everything he and his family had experienced since moving in. And as Kate listened intently, she assured John she would return soon. But in the meantime, the ghost's behavior became even more erratic and dangerous. One evening, John Bell was sitting by the fire when a ball suddenly rolled across the room. He thought nothing of it until similar events started taking place. The family witnessed furniture moving by itself, as well as the fireplace tools rearranging themselves. But that wasn't all. They also started finding scratches and bite marks on their bodies too, leading everyone to believe something evil was living among them. And soon their fears would become reality. One evening, John Bell was writing at his desk when he heard a blood-curdling scream coming from upstairs. It was followed by heavy footsteps and loud bangs, as if someone was running around the house. When he went to investigate, he found one of his chairs overturned and a candle extinguished. And shortly after, he heard a knock at the door. Thinking it was just a trick of his imagination, he ignored it. But the knocking persisted. And eventually he made his way to the front door and peeked through the window. To his surprise, he saw the apparition of an emaciated old woman covered in hair standing on his porch. Startled, he quickly shut the door, but as he turned around, he found a stone dropped at his feet. As he picked it up, he noticed a piece of paper taped to it, and when he unfolded it, he found the following message: "I am your witch, and you are my prisoner." And from that moment on, John Bell knew their lives would never be the same. As the weeks passed, the ghost's activity escalated, and the family became more and more afraid to go outside for fear of being attacked. Then one day, Kate Bates returned to the Bell household and spoke with John once again. During their conversation, she claimed that she knew the ghost's identity and how to stop its haunting. According to her research, the ghost was the spirit of an old woman named Kate Bates, who died under mysterious circumstances on that very property. She had been accused of witchcraft and was tortured relentlessly until her death, and now her spirit was haunting the Bells as revenge. Kate Bates told John she could help the family break the curse if he gave her permission. But there was a catch. In order to do this, John would have to allow her to stay on the property and conduct experiments. Although he was desperate, John refused, so Kate Bates vowed to haunt the Bells until they left the house. And that's exactly what happened. Within a few days, John Bell and his family abandoned their home and relocated. Sadly, John Bell's health deteriorated, and he passed away the following year. His grave is said to be haunted to this very day. In 1836, the ghost of Kate Bates was spotted one last time by a man named Thomas J. Meneli, who described seeing an emaciated, discolored woman covered in dirt and matted hair, dragging herself closer and closer to John Bell's grave. Some say she was trying to pay her respects to her final resting place after being torn from it so many years ago. Others believe she was trying to resurrect John Bell and drag him to hell with her. But whatever the case may be, Thomas watched in amazement as the ghost hovered over John's grave and disappeared into thin air. And that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more ghost stories just like this one, then be sure to check out our other videos. With that said, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.